Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good day, faculty in attendance. We would like to say thank you for coming to presentation. In this presentation, we would like to discuss about the implementation of bubble sort. Before that, allow me to introduce our group. Satrio Wicaksono, Atsiilah Thufailah, and Rizky Fajar Ramadhan. Bubble sort is one of many sorting algorithm methods. Bubble sort works can easily be understood by sorting the first index in an array to the next index in an array and compare it. When the value is greater or less, it will swap each other according to the user intent using sorting for. Is it sorting with ascending or descending? Where the sorting stops when there's nothing left to swap, or all value in an array is already ordered by ascending or descending. Sorting surely can help user when a user looking for specific value on an array, because after the sorting done, the array will show with ascending or descending order. When already ordered, the user can be easier to find the value than before sorted.
Algorithm, data structure, and sorting. First, algorithm. Algorithm is a technique that contains a set of commands or instructions that are used to solve problems systematically and logically. Next, data structure. Data structure, a collection or group of data that can be characterized by an organization and the operation defined against it. Next, sorting. Sorting is the process of sorting that data is in a storage area in a certain order, either from the smallest value to largest value, ascending, or from the largest value to the smallest value, descending. Bubble sort. A bubble sort algorithm goes through a list of data a number of times, comparing two items that are side by side to see which is out of order. It will keep going through the list of data until all the data is sorted into order. The function of this algorithm is to sort the data from the smallest to largest, or ascending, or vice versa, descending.
This is a simulation of bubble sort in ascending order. The first we're gonna do is prepare an array of data to be sorted, and then compare the first index with the next index. In the simulation, compare the numbers 8 and 6 and swap as desired order. Do the same thing on the next index. If it reaches the last index, it indicates that the first iteration has been completed. If the array data has not been sorted correctly, then go to the second iteration. As we can see, in the second iteration, the last index is not compared. Then in the third iteration, the first and the last index is not compared, as well as the last iteration. In the second and subsequent iterations, it is not done comparing the last index because the last index is already in the right position. So it is only done at the position of the numbers that have not been sorted starting from the left. The number of iterations of bubble sort is as much as data length minus 1. We can see in the simulation there are 5 data and the total iteration is 1.
Okay, now it is time to talk about the implementation of bubble sort on application bins with Java. In the previous discussion, we will talk about the bubble sort and all things related to it. Now it's time to talk about the implementation. In order to implement the bubble sort, we're going to make a simple application that consists of 3 frames. There's main frame, the data frame, and sorting frame. In order to make those frames, we're going to use Apache NetBeans as its IDE that we're gonna use Java programming language. From the left image, there's main frame, and the right image there's tail frame. Tail frame can be said that that frame is just an introduction before we move to the sorting frame. That the sorting frame itself is the main topic from this discussion. Sorting frame. In this frame, we're gonna use some component like text field and button. On the image, we can see that from the left, there's 5 text field. That this 5 text field, we're gonna change its variable name as the following instruction. From the number 1 is tf, the number 2 is tf1, number 3 is tf2, the number 4 is tf3, and number 5 as tf4. it for the variable name for the text field. And to the right there is sorting. There's two buttons that it writes sort and clear. The sort button, when we perform an action at it, it will perform the bubble sort. And the clear button, when we perform an action on it, it will clear the number that we input from the text field before. And to the right, there is text field that will show the result. Now we already talked about the sorting frame, so we're gonna jump to the algorithm. Algorithm. The first thing that we need to do is to make an array from the algorithm that we write on the presentation. The first thing we do is to make an array called data. That the data array can save up to 5 elements of 5 value. For the data index 0, we'll assign the value as from the text that we input to the text field when the variable name is df. The data index 0, index 1 is from the text field variable name is df1, and so on. After we assign each value of the element from the text that we input from the corresponding text field, we move to the bubble sort algorithm. To perform the bubble sort algorithm, we need to make an inner loop and to make an outer loop. So to make the outer loop and inner loop, the outer loop is to perform an iteration, and the inner loop to make to access each element on the array and then compare and swap it. To perform it, we can see from the algorithm that for int I equals to 0, I less than length minus 1, I increment, it is the outer loop, and then it will perform. So as long the I value is less than the data length minus 1, it will perform the inner loop. That the inner loop is int integer j equals to 0, j less than length I minus 1, j increment. It will execute the following code. It will execute the code block inside the inner loop if the j is less than the length minus I minus 1. The code block for the inner loop is to compare and swap. The compare and swap can be performed from by creating a Boolean variable named ascend, that the ascend is equals to data index j more than data index j plus 1. Then make an if statement. If ascend or the Boolean ascend variable value is true, so if the data index j is bigger than the data j index plus 1, then it will execute the following code block. The code block inside the if statement is integer swap equals to data index j, and data index j equals to data index j plus 1, and that data index j plus 1 is equals to swap. So the value of data index j and data index j plus 1 is gonna swap. The reason why in the inner loop the inner loop is j less than length minus I minus 1 is for each iteration the limit of the j it will decrease, so it will make the bubble sort more effective. And then after that, after make the bubble sort, the array will make a for loop to print the sorted data. Okay, I think that's all from us. Very sorry if there's many mistake. Thank you.